Hey, welcome back to Whitetail Garage. This weekend, we're going to work on the Navigator. Again, 2015 Lincoln Navigator. It's the 3.5 liter EcoBoost twin turbocharged. So this already has the issue with the cam phaser where it's rattling on startup if it sits for too long. So I've got to get that work done. I've already taken a look at the parts that I need to get. It's something I'll do here on the channel. I'm dreading doing the work. It's a lot of work. I got to take the whole front of the engine apart to do it, because I'll do the phasers and the chains and the everything that needs to be done at the same time. Water pump, all that'll get done all at the same time. So it's gonna be a lot of work. I'll have to dig into all that. So anyways, like I said, today oil change, and then I'm going to show you the shutter I'm talking about that I think is a torque converter shutter. And apparently there's this kind of fix-all that you can put on them to resolve that. We'll see. So underneath, getting ready to do an oil change. So that's one of the turbos. I believe this one, is leaking a little coolant. That's the coolant line right there. And what happens is they leak just enough for it to boil off because the heat's so high. But it just takes forever for you to really notice. I believe that's the one. You can see I've got a little bit of a potential buildup right here too. Like maybe that front sill on the impeller potentially leaking. If it is, it's minor. Then I just noticed down on the back of the oil pan, I got a little bit of a drip. I've not noticed anything on the driveway, but maybe have a rear main leaking back here. It's just slightly starting to collect. So she's got some miles. She needs some help, but we'll get her all set up. All right. Well, like I said, it does this weird shutter that feels like you're hitting the rumble strips on the side of the road. So I'm going to see if I can get it to do it. It's enough where it vibrates the rear view mirror and everything. I know you saw that in the mirror. I don't know if you heard it, but I know you saw it in the mirror, and that is the exact symptom I'm talking about. Did it 3 times there. So this is the stuff I'm talking about. Eliminates shutter. Supposedly will fix the issue. But just got back from a test drive and it's 1,000 degrees, so I gotta wait till it cools off because it does not have a dipstick. So I'll have to add it at the transmission. Alright, next day, and I've got to get that guy off. Right here. That's where the fluid goes in. It's kind of blurry for some reason. But you know what I'm talking about. Alright, so here's the plug, and then that's the dipstick right there. So you pull that guy out. Alright, so here's the product. I'm gonna, as you can see, it tells you cut off the top there. So that'll work like a nice little funnel. And then I can go up into there. See if I can get this camera in the angle to show you. Then I can go up into here like so and squirt it right in. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. So the plug is on the passenger side of the vehicle, and I went in right behind the tire here and just laid on my back. It's right there in between the kind of exhaust and the transmission, but on the transmission. It's a 19 millimeter, so a good size wrench, and just a little bit of effort you can break that loose. It's not on super tight. And then again, you back that plug out, and then you pull the dipstick out, and you're good to go. All right, so a couple of things. Make sure this thing is pointed straight up when you cut it open. This is not a gel at all. It's very much a fluid. I don't know why. I was just thinking it would be a gel, which would make it kind of harder to squeeze in, and now it goes right in, no problem. The other thing is my transmission was full of fluid. It was where it's supposed to be. Fluid definitely shows age. You know, I don't know what the normal. I'd have to look and see what the normal normal time frame I should be replacing the fluid is. Vehicle has 100,000 miles on it. We bought it used, so I'm not sure when or if it was ever changed, or what the time to change it is. Anyways, it was full. Fluid was not bright red like you'd want it to be. It was definitely discolored. So maybe I'll do a fluid change and add more of this again later. But I really wanted to use this as a diagnostic because a couple of things. So I've seen a lot of people swear by this stuff and say it fixes their shutter. And then I've seen a lot of like Ford and certified technicians that are going to be seeing this stuff a lot more, like working at dealers and things. Let's say this won't fix your problem. It's a Band-Aid. It'll fix it temporarily, but ultimately you're going to have to put a torque converter in it. So my thought was that I'd run it in this for a while, see how it works, share that review with you guys. So after I post this, I'll let it go for a while. We'll drive it for a little while, and then I'll post an update video after a while and let you guys know, you know, after a couple of months or something, you know, how well it's doing. Otherwise, you've got to put a torque converter in it. I heard price range on a torque converter at a dealer is like $800 for the part. You look online, they range anywhere from like a $150 rebuild all the way up to like I think I saw a $1,600 torque converter that had a lot more performance specs to it, which obviously I'm not worried about at all for this family grocery getter. Anyhow, let's go for a test drive now and see if I can reproduce that shutter. I know exactly where to drive that's going to definitely produce it if it's going to produce it. And I have a little bit of time of circulating that fluid before I actually get there. So hopefully shutter's fixed. We'll see. Let's go for a ride. Now let's see if we can get up to 40. This hill does it all the time. And I didn't get it at all. And this hill right here does it pretty good too, usually. So this is a little bit of a rougher road. It's not quite as smooth. So you may have to trust me on it, but let's get around over here. Yeah, I normally fill a shuffle there, or shutter there, and didn't. Alright, well, I drove several miles. Miles that I know I can reproduce that every time. So 40 miles an hour, like just giving it a little bit of a load to kind of maintain speed as you're going up a gradual hill would do it every time for us. Otherwise, it would be kind of random on the highway depending on the load or the situation of the speed. Same with like greater load at lower speed and the right gear would do it. But for me, it felt like fourth, fifth, or sixth gear, gradual increase in load, going up a hill between 40 and 43 miles an hour. I could get it to shutter every time. And in fact, I could almost make it shutter, like keep shuttering. Now, in this video, I was struggling a little bit to reproduce that because I was going on a different path to get it to do it, but I did get it to reproduce it. And then for the test drive, final test drive, I went to places where I know I've always been able to reproduce it. And seems to have fixed it. Now, I know this is a short video and it's not really a big fix, but there's quite a few videos out here on this Shudder Fixx product. I'm not a sponsor. They're not sponsoring me. I'm not affiliated in any way. I just found it through my research to be a possible fix, so that's why I tried it. But I did also find that it's a very, very, very temporary fix. And let me rephrase that. The friction modifiers added to the transmission are a very temporary fix. And so nothing on the packaging of this product suggests it's temporary. So I'm kind of wondering if they've got something different than just friction modifiers that are fixing this. Certainly the issue is you have clutches that are causing a problem. Supposedly it's the torque converter, and this is a torque converter shutter. So like I said, I'll continue to drive it, and then if I feel that shutter again, then I'll certainly drop another video. Otherwise, in a couple of months, I'll drop a video of an update, just letting you know I haven't had a shutter. And we'll kind of go from there. I definitely don't want to pull that transmission unless I absolutely have to. So that's my plan at this point. So I've got one more thing to fix, or two more things, one small and one major. I've got that check engine light you guys saw. It is, I'd have to look up the code again. It's for one of the canister, evaporator canister valves. I've got to go figure out which one it is. I'd done an initial test, and that test passed. And I can erase the code, and the code won't come up for a long time, but it does eventually pop back up. Doesn't seem to affect anything drivability wise, but I do have that check engine light, super annoying. So I'll eventually get that fixed. The bigger issue is that I do have the cam phaser startup noise occasionally, and so it needs phasers. That's very normal. That's the 3.5 EcoBoost twin turbocharged. I have to take that whole front end apart, all of the timing set, replace all the chains, phasers, guides, all that stuff. I'll get all that done at once. Like I said, I think it's like $1,000-ish in parts. But I want to take you guys along for that journey. I know enough to get it done. Certainly not the experienced newer mechanic in these year model vehicles. I think the last thing I worked on as a paid technician at a dealership was 2009, 2010. So it's been a while. Certainly some differences now, but I should be able to accomplish the work. So I take you guys along the journey with me and kind of bridge the gap between a dealership garage and your garage. So we'll see. That video will come up eventually. I got to buy all the parts. That's what I was working on this weekend. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.